following video features excerpts from 8 recorded live lessons on drawing a portrait with graphite. To learn more about how you can access this live lesson series, watch the video to the end. If I go back to the square B1 up here, almost like playing bingo, I'm going to look at where it starts up here at the top, and that's where I'm going to start making the line. And again, I'm going to make it very light, and I'm going to be checking as I go with the photo reference. And just to check, make sure your eyes are not deceiving me, or my eyes are not deceiving me. That is a pretty straight diagonal line that happens right down the side here. And we can kind of check that there. So we're just, any little piece of information we can get down now earlier in the drawing process, the better. And see if they're about the same. See if the eye's about the same diagonal. Pretty close. So, okay, got this strap coming out of here. And you can see when I start working on these kind of details here, the strap and stuff like that, I'm less worried about accuracy. And then we're going to slowly build up the values. Now, even when I'm drawing this pupil here, I'm looking at the relationship between the edges of the iris and where the pupil begins. And I'm trying to judge and see if I'm putting it in the right spot. And then I'm going to put in an initial application of value here that's still very, very light. And we're going to progressively get darker. Still want that to appear lighter. Now, you might notice that I'm making little tiny small circles when I apply the graphite. That's going to give us a smooth transition in value, make it look real soft. Okay, let's go ahead and do some work on the other eye, and then you have to work slowly, which is what we're doing here. We're approaching this very slowly, and I think a lot of times people don't realize how much time and attention goes into a piece of artwork that is highly rendered this way. So we trusted the grid last week, and now we're trusting what we see as far as the value goes. I had mentioned before I had made the shape maybe a little bit smaller. We can probably make that shape a little bit bigger as we work, and just make the eye a little bit bigger. I think it just needs to be just slightly a little bit bigger. But with this value down, I'm going back and forth between the photo reference and my paper. And I'm just kind of maybe taking little mental notes each time I look at the photo reference, and then bringing that information back to the paper. So another reason for using kind of circles when you put on here is you want to try to maybe eradicate any directional lines that can be distracting. The mouth can tell you a lot about who the person is. We all have unique smiles. And I'm just going to lift just a little bit of this line up. At least the mouth. So when we zoom out, you can really see how this light is playing over here. You know, we've got okay, so right along the edge of the chin, it's lighter, and then it just is very subtly darker underneath. So I'm going to use the HB pencil, and I'm going to go right at the bottom of that line. Now the part right above, we're going to leave a little bit lighter. Now this is, if you're always looking for those relationships in your drawing, then you'll be pretty accurate with what you are drawing. Occasionally you'll get off. Of course, everybody kind of gets away from those things, or it has to have some kind of physical presence associated with it, and that's not true. The size of the surface is really irrelevant, although some people don't believe that. Now, looks like we've kind of got a little bit of a repeating texture there, so we'll just kind of create a little bit of variety in the value. Every once in a while, you're gonna have some things that drive you crazy about a drawing, but in this case, it's her eyes with this drawing. So I'm going to try to use some of the darker values and kind of make things make a little bit more sense, because we got some really dark values to put over here. Now, if we would have started off with this generalist pencil and the softer pencil, it'd be a whole lot, believe it or not, it'd be even grainier than it is now. And it's looking nice and wet there, but Yeah, I like that better. That helped. Okay, so this is kind of how I'm working here. As my eyes are moving down to this area, I'm kind of developing this area right here. I see that her shoulder comes across here, and I kind of drew out the shape of a darker value. It's not a darker value, but it's darker than the values around it. And I want to make sure that that's lined up on the shoulder. So I actually prefer the vellum surface because it kind of creates this grainy look, which is a little reminiscent of analog photography. All right, so let's continue down the side here, and you can see how far out that dark value comes, and it almost makes kind of a triangular shape here. We want to be careful that we don't cover up this light value right here, and we also want to make sure that we don't come out too far, and we don't really have the opportunity to create these really cool lines that come off the edge, because these little lines are what's going to really make it feel like hair. So and you can see I'm just kind of pulling these lines out just as the hair would grow. And again, this is another place where you don't have to get too obsessed with it being perfect. And one thing I'm kind of noticing out of the corner of my eye here is I'm kind of missing some indication of eyelashes up there. Just a dark shape right on top of there. And since we're zoomed in so close, you can really see the contrast. But it won't be that strong when we zoom out. Right, I'm going to go ahead and start darkening up this value, even though I'm starting to put some of this area of lighter value in. And again, I'm just barely touching the surface. We don't have any of the values here, so it's still going to look a little bit strange, and we still need to make some of these values up here at the top darker. Because before I went live, I was kind of asking myself, where would my natural tendency be? Where would I naturally want to put this bone? And the answer is actually over here somewhere. I wouldn't have wanted to put it way over here right underneath the chin, but that's where it is. So all right, so right down the side here, a little bit of a darker value, and then we'll go back and make that even darker. We can kind of define that line. This thing right here would be, this little area I'm working here would be a whole lot easier, but you'll lose that texture drawing look. So let's zoom out so we can kind of just compare the value relationships there so we can see where you are. Okay, so all right, so we're going to bring that little bit of value and kind of see how we want the polka dots to kind of manifest themselves. Now, even though this is a really strong highlighted edge, that does have a little bit of a darker value. Not bring a little bit of a line over the top to show just a little bit of texture there in the strap. So again, you can approach drawing like this any way that you want. And I know I've mentioned this before in the previous videos, but you don't have to use just 2 pencils like I'm using. If you're more comfortable with using H pencils and, progressively getting darker as you go, that's fine. I know some, and then let's go in and I'm just going to twist the pencil and let's see if you can see this here. Let's see if this will focus up. Okay. I've been using the flat side of the pencil. As I've been using it, it's kind of created a flat surface that gives me a nice smooth mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it so that I'm using a tip that has been created there. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. It's coming through really clear for me. So that General's pencil is so much darker than an HB pencil. See the tip? See, it's still nice and sharp. Okay, it seems like the pattern I'm working on here kind of slants. I had that diagonal, had a little bit of a diagonal there. I'm not really sure why, but I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to second guess it. I'm just going to kind of go with it. And I'm still working with the General's pencil here. I hadn't switched back to the HP pencil because I think and those bands of light value are almost straight across. And in fact, I see that I've kind of made them kind of go down into the diagonal when they're actually kind of pointing up at a diagonal or almost straight across. So we'll see if we can nice and in one place. So we can clean that up really easily with the kneaded eraser here. And just since it's so light, it's almost a powder on the surface, we can clean that up. And every once in a while, take a stop and just look at what you've done so far and make sure that everything is making sense. Make it a little bit stronger. And on the front of the bill, maybe we'll just add a little bit of the softer graphite here just to make it a little bit darker. And we'll define that edge just a little bit further up here as well. Hi, Matt here with the Virtual Instructor. Thank you for watching this presentation, which featured excerpts from 8 recorded live lessons. Now, every live lesson series is available to members at thevirtualinstructor.com in its entirety. Right now, we have over 130 live lessons recorded, and each one is about an hour long. Members also have access to our great video courses, ebooks, which are included with the courses, and lesson plans for teachers. If you're not a member yet, I suggest you taking a look at the program. However, if you're just interested in this specific series, the Graphite Portrait Series, you can purchase this entire series. It's over 7 hours of video instruction, as well as a photo reference and a list of materials. All you have to do is follow the provided link and you can purchase just this series. But again, I recommend you taking a look at our comprehensive membership program. As always, thanks for taking a look at this video, and I wish you the very best of luck in your artistic journey.